It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice. My name is Lwazi Mpanza. I'm a feminist, I'm an activist, and a researcher.
My name is Benny Lehuati. I'm a self-employed person, but I am more spiritual connected. I am more scientific and physics, everything that's got to do with nature is who I am.
My name is Ndipiwe Linda. I'm spiritually connected. It's obviously a new thing now. It's a journey that I'm taking on. And I'm a filmmaker. I just lover of life.
My name is Mamsi Kutia. A member of St. Mary Moonlight Apostolic Church. I'm a lover of life. I'm very spiritual.
My name is Monil Khwati, aka Dumezweni by my spiritual name, and I'm a Sangoma.
I'd say that African spirituality is a belief system that exists within the African context. Our history as Africans has been modified with European methods and ways of doing things that we have lost somewhat touch of how to go about with our own cultural rituals. So I'd like to learn from you as we share mostly our personal experiences around this topic.
I've been a traditional healer for the past 10 years, over 10 years, since 2008. And I do understand why people are lost, because, you know, we are the generations that did not understand our own culture. But what I'm happy about is that more youth are coming to an understanding that God and the ancestors works hand in hand. Hence, we can't actually speak to the ancestors without including God. But it's always important also to acknowledge our ancestors, because in the Bible, they call them angels.
Basically, for me, African spirituality would be our beliefs from the past, you know, from our forefathers. It's the things that used to be done back in the days, you know, slaughtering of sheep, slaughtering of cows, just to acknowledge that Amanyange do lives amongst us.
I would say I'm actually privileged to be in a church that speaks of both, meaning we believe in God and we also believe in ancestors, because it's a African church. It's an indigenous African church. So it allows people to actually, you know, practice and, you know, not forget about their culture. So for me, I would say I'm very privileged to be able to be actually in a church that actually recognizes both your spiritual being and the religion part of it, which is, you know, believing in God, the Bible, and the 10 Commandments and all that. So for me, it's actually a privilege.
My mom was still at school when I was conceived. So in other words, she grew up struggling to raise me up. When I say struggling, I was raised by too many families, because one moment if she got a job somewhere else, she would dump me with this family. And one moment you find another opportunity somewhere, she would take me and dump me with the other family. And within a very short space of time, spending time with certain families, I tried to learn values and culture. And by the time I get moved to another family, I saw something different. And up until today, what I've noticed is what we are doing today, it's not what we want, it's somebody else's idea. You've been conditioned by the family, your relatives, your friends, people you spend time with, school teachers, and even your priests. These are the people that condition you to be who you are. The food that you're actually even eating today, it was not your choice. You were forced that food. And because of that, that's what made a lot of people who they are today, living out or somebody else's idea. Now, with me, the confusion was I ended up in one family they believed more in tradition and more in whatever they believed in. The next time I stayed with another family, they believed in more church, Zionists and all that. Make no mistake, I've seen it all. I've done it. I've been involved with these different cultures. I mean, I even ended up staying in a farm because there was a time I was a bit ill, and they told me the only way I'm going to get rid of this illness, I must spend time in this village with a Sangoma who said to me, you need to find a specific kind of insect that I need to use to heal you. And it took me almost 3 months in that village looking for that. But at that process and time, I learned that culture. Fast forwarding to later on, which now my mom decided or my granny decided to say, listen, you're moving around this kid. Why don't you leave the kid? I'll raise this kid. That's when I ended up now growing with my granny. My granny was a Catholic. I was forced to go to a Catholic church. And with the Catholic church, there was a little bit something of not agreeing with traditional medication or healing or things like that. But my granny on one side didn't really care. She attended the church, but she still believed I need to slaughter, I need to speak to my ancestors in this way, even though the church never believed. I got drawn into those things. I went all through all these processes. And then one day I asked myself a question, I say, but why all these? Where are we going with all these things? What is our purpose here? And this one says this is right, this one says this is right, this is wrong. And I ended up having an issue that I even told my granny, I'm not going to go to church anymore because to me, it doesn't serve any purpose. I've got questions and I don't get answers. And on the other side, when they start slaughtering, I mean, I used to get cut. We all know that anyway, whoever grew up traditionally, culturally, rapatiwa, you get to wear some kind of a skin. I did that as well. But still, there was questions that I tried to get people to answer. All it was is, this is how it is. Just don't question too much. It worked, and that's how we also got brought up. You are also going to get brought up in that. And probably down the line, I decided I need to get answers myself. And now getting answers yourself, it's when you got something called quantum sort of conditioning. I had my eyes open in a different way. And then I almost sit back and I looked and I said, something is wrong here. There is something that we are doing and it doesn't serve our purpose, but it worked. So in other words, whatever this person is doing, if it suits them, it's fine, it works for them. If I come to you, I said, this thing I've got here, it works for me. If I say this thing, I just look at it and then everything happens for me, it works for me. Nobody should question me. That's how I believe. So this is why I found out that everything's got nothing to do with all this, God, spirituality, blah, 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 blah. All it's got to do is with your mind. Everything is about mind.
For me, it's not about being conditioned because, I mean, you grow up as, you know, as Benny mentioned, you grow up and you see these things and you choose whether you believe in them or not. So at the end of the day, for me, the fact that I ended up going to church, I've always been a church person when I was younger. We went to Anglican church. And I would say for me, when I went to church because my parents told me to go to church then because I was young. But I did not get that fulfillment because it was something that I was told by my parents to do. Up until when I grew up and there were certain things happening in my life. And I don't know what to call it in English, but then because when you are with people or you burp or something and it happens in a very, it's not a normal burp that people do that they recognize it, you know, you've got wind and then you are burping, but it's a different kind of burping. And for me, I think when I was in the Anglican church, I would feel very uncomfortable because the vision of the church did not believe in that, you know, people have banale moya. So that's why I ended up not going to church anymore. And I stayed a long time without going to church because for me, I wanted to find a place where I can feel that I belong and I'm with people that they have the same gift or whatever it's called, for a lack of a better word. And in 2017 or 2016, there was a friend of my mom that actually, my mom told her that, Ngwanaka, this is what's happening, unale moya. And this is obviously something that my mom grew up with on her side of the family. They went, her entire family are Apostolic Church members. And this lady said to my mom, no, Irunwanaha must come and visit at our church, because at our church, this is what we do, and I'm sure she will enjoy it. And I decided one Sunday, I'm going to go and visit the church. It's in Alexandra. And when I got there, wow, I felt like for the first time, I felt like I was with people that understand me. I was with people that I can relate to. I mean, it was my first time going to that church, but I was like, oh my word, where have these people been all my life? Because this is where I belong. This is where I can be myself and not feel judged in any way, and not get those looks, when you burp in other churches, they like give you that look like what's going on, and some of the churches, unfortunately, they don't recognize it. They call it a demonic behavior. So for me, when I got there, I felt like I belonged. And it was nothing. No one told me to go there. No one forced me. It was my own choice. So as much as we can say as people that whatever we're going through in our lives, it's because of how we were raised, there was conditioning and all that. But at the end of the day, you are allowed to make your own decision. And I think for me, that's what makes Black culture or Black society so interesting, because of the different beliefs and the different value systems that we are raised by. And that's why we are democratic in that way, because we are allowed to actually explore and, unpack our value systems. Because for me, when you talk about spirituality is very broad on its own. It's not, it's got different umbrellas. It's got different aspects to it. There's a spirituality on a Sangoma side, there's spirituality under religion, there's spirituality. But at the end of the day, for me, spirituality means believing in something greater than yourself.
My dream is, after school, I still think kids and parents should spend money and get kids to go and learn awareness. This is a very mind-opening kind of a thing that I dream one day this is what should be done. School must stop focusing on implex. It's good, it teaches you all these things, but awareness, which eventually lead us to being conscious and being not ignorant.
My dream would be when it comes to the ancestral world, they do something similar to like what we do when we go to the mountains, because we learn a lot, and it prepares us for the world. It prepares us for our future.
I wish it could actually be put on a school syllabus. They must actually teach our African kids about tribalism, traditional remedies, and about healing, all that. But if they learn it from an early age, then that will actually help our society.
If they teach this in school, it will give our kids a better understanding of who they are and where they come from. And also to understand that the part of having ancestors and having celebrating your ancestors is not demonic. It's something that is part of us.
My dream is a society or a Christianity that will take down the packaging that revokes the existence of African spirituality in it, and bring out or include who we are as Black people, because what we believe in contributes to how we behave. And if we could start in our own houses to go back and teach our kids what we have missed, I promise you, knowing where you come from will center everything that brings lightness and positivity and hope, especially in these times.